Hello. Welcome to the Anything Bore, Anything Goes. My name is Miguel.
Mode.
This is
How you doing, everybody?
Welcome to SnackTime, an offshoot of the Anything Bowl. We usually keep it to one thing, one single topic, keep it simple. This week, folks, you saw Assassin's Creed put out the Mirage gameplay, story, whatever trailer, and it looks really good. We got to ride the train. We got to ride the wave. Assassin's Creed tier list. Here we go. This is going to be really just the mainline games, because I know that you and I, Matt, have fallen in and out of love with Assassin's Creed. We've played a handful of the newer ones. Yeah. We're really like old school Assassin's Creed lovers.
Pretty much.
Let's see what our opinions like.
We like the classics, you know.
We've also never spoken about Assassin's Creed at length in terms of our favorite games. So I think this could be a surprising
real test of friendship here going on. I don't think our opinions are going to be too far off though.
No, I don't think they're going to be too different. But we're going to start by just putting Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation in. Did not play.
Liberation. See, I don't even see. Oh yeah, I did not play that. So fuck that.
I think I spelled that wrong.
Not fuck that. It's probably a good game. I have no idea. Can't really.
I have no idea. Haven't played it. This is just the mainline console games. I don't know why this one's in there, but I'm pretty sure there was a remaster. Fucking oh well. So yeah, we start in. I think it was when did the first Assassin's Creed come out? 2008, 2009.
I don't remember. I mean, it was like 7 or 8. Yeah, it was like one of the OG titles for Xbox.
Exactly, 360. Too back in the day.
Where are you putting it?
Assassin's Creed 1, I have played. I'm gonna give it a solid B tier, because it's not great as a game. Like in hindsight, it's very clunky, duh. But a lot of the concepts really were cool and had enough depth to them to give this series life and turn it into what it turned into. But it's not like it hasn't aged perfectly. And although I think there was a remaster, it's just not like my favorite. I'm not a huge Altair fan.
Altair. I'm gonna have to agree with you as sentiment. I think it had a lot of concepts in its infancy. I don't think it's aged very well.
No,
obviously. Well, I mean, all these games. Well, especially the early games, they, it's rough around the edges, but it's like late 2000s, in terms of games. So yeah, I think it's revolutionary for the concepts I was bringing to the table, especially in sort of the hidden blade. Obviously did you have like a real big tool belt? Not really. You probably just had like smoke bombs and stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I don't
just
remember.
Bombs and you could throw some knives, and there was the crossbow in the trailer, but you couldn't actually use it in the game. Yeah,
and obviously the story didn't really contribute. I mean, it did, but it didn't. It just introduced the world,
Yeah,
like the animus and everything. So yeah, solid B tier. Did its job.
In itself, it was cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept.
Then you get to Assassin's Creed 2, bro, and that's easy.
Easy S tier.
Easy S tier.
Come on, let's be honest here.
Honestly, right? I got to tell you, first of all, Ezio is my favorite protagonist. And second of all, I love when you get to fight with the hidden blade. Like, you used to be able to do the thing where you didn't have to have a sword, because you couldn't do it in the first one. But you could bring out both blades, and then you could just, swing your arms around and, smack the shit out of people.
Oh, dude, yeah. This one's fire as fuck with that.
It's so good.
Yeah, this one really brought out a lot of customization options. I think Ezio just had more charisma as a character.
He has so much depth to him.
More depth, more movement, too. I think a lot of things were dialed to with him. I think Florence was a really fun place to explore. And yeah, I think, this beginning of actually I would say too, the side missions were pretty interesting in this.
They were
game as well, comparative to other games. So,
this game was intense too. It was because Ezio as a protagonist, you watch him. The first mission is his birth.
Yeah,
and then he starts to grow up, and you're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. And then he watches his dad and his brothers get hung.
Oh yeah. So then of course he's like, I'm tight now. I'm about to.
He's like, this is about to be a lot.
So
that's the fight
but it was cool. But I mean, because the first half of the game, it's literally the beginning of Batman, but not Batman.
Exactly.
It's fucking Ezio.
That's exactly it. He feels very much like Batman.
It's crazy.
I also got to say, man, the newer games look cool. Like if we're talking, when I say newer, I mean Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. Mm-hmm. They look cool, but I'm a huge fan of, and this goes the same because I said this for Jedi Survivor. Mm-hmm. When I play a story game, I'm not playing for the challenge. I like the story and the simplicity of the combat. So I love in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3. I don't know if it was in 3. Revelations, Brotherhood. How it was like you got to hit him 3 times, and then you stab him, and then once you stab one of them, you can just chain and insta kill whoever else depending on their size. I love that shit. I hate in the newer games how I got to be I got to dodge you, and then I got to stab you a little bit, and then you're still sitting there, and then you're gonna hit me in the head.
We'll probably have different opinions on that, but
that's because you like
it was
that kind of
satisfying
game.
At the time. It's very arcadey in that sense. So
exactly arcadey.
Yeah, so the combat for what it was, it did a lot of its purpose, and especially if you were smooth with it, you would have a good time with it. again, I think the tool belt was definitely a lot more spanned out. I think this is the introduction of like cherry bombs and stuff like that too. So there's different ways to play a little bit.
You had a gun?
Oh god, that was the gun has been like a staple when we play Unity, especially when we get to that.
Oh, dude, I can't wait.
That's the funniest shit.
I fucking love
dude.
Unity,
dude. Oh, we'll get to it.
Brotherhood.
Right, so Brotherhood. Brotherhood was actually my first Assassin's Creed game. I played it at my cousin's house. Like,
really?
When I first got my because I didn't really know what games to play. Like I just got my Xbox at Christmas, right?
Oh,
so I got Black Ops 1. That was my first Call. Technically, my first Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 2. But the first game I ever owned and first with my Xbox was Black Ops 1.
Yeah, okay.
And when I went over to his house Christmas Day, we were playing this, and I'm like, what the fuck? And at first I wasn't really that into it because I'm like, I never played a stealth game before. I'm like fucking 11 or 12. I don't know what the fuck's going on. The more you got, see, but what's really crazy is like the older I got with Brotherhood, the more you appreciate I got into it. Because the more you appreciate it too, because I mean, first of all, I'm not a dumbass kid. Secondly, it starts to kind of build like this system where like I don't particularly remember. Was this the one where like you could raise assassins, you can send them out on missions, like
Ezio you could start building your Brotherhood.
Yeah, you know,
exactly.
So it was really cool to have that type of freedom, and I think it's no doubt in my mind that this is probably I would say like the best story. I think
this is where Assassin's Creed peaked. Like personally speaking, I put Brotherhood in S tier above Assassin's Creed 2 because it is my favorite. I think it's the only Assassin's Creed that I've beaten multiple times. It's the only one where I've actually done all the side missions. I tried to go for collectibles, but I've never been 100% kind of person.
Yeah.
Ezio when he's younger is cool. Ezio when he's an older man and he's still banging and whatever. It's super cool. But Ezio in his prime, dude. And then don't even get me started. That cinematic trailer, the first teaser trailer, when he like has to fight the villain who's like the main villain is the guy that's fucking his sister.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, because those are like that's actual people.
I know.
It's Borgia, like actual.
Yeah, historical.
Which is a great show. You should watch.
You got to look at it outside of context.
Well, you want to know something funny too? My parents were watching because there was a show at the time on HBO called The Borgia, which it was like a dramatized version of this family. These guys were really interesting because they like literally kept it in a family. They had a lot of fucking money, and a lot of times they were more powerful than the highest leaders of Rome at the time and stuff like that. So it's really, I love the villains. They're pretty cool. I think especially too when you get to I think what I really appreciate especially about this game too is that it's open world, but you also have to be smart in the fact that each part of the level or the map, you have to be at a certain skill set, especially. Yes. So you have to be really, it's like it wasn't a bad type of grindy. That's why I thought it was fun. Like you send your assassin
it was
on
like a simple
missions and shit to get some money, do some side quests.
It's like a structured open world kind of thing. That's my favorite is when they go, it's open world, but like we're still going to hold your hand a little bit so you can figure out what the story is. That's my shit.
Because it feels like there's a progression, So I think it works really well for these games.
It's not just overall, like, here's this open world and figure it out and the map is too big. And
yeah, it really does a good job of teaching how to play the game. So overall, it definitely goes above 2 in S tier.
Fact.
For sure.
Dude, then we get to Revelations. Oh my God, Revelations!
Boy. What a bit of a drop off. Which sucks because I really like this game though. That's the thing.
Personally,
yes,
I'm gonna put Revelations in A because I think Revelations is underappreciated. I love the Hookblade.
Hookblade was kind of fire.
Having them like blend Altair into the story with Ezio, super fucking cool.
It was a good relationship for sure with that. I think the biggest issue that I had with this one, I felt like the missions weren't really that engaging.
No, they weren't.
It really just felt like, like at least in Brotherhood, right? There was some like certain tasks, like there were certain angles that you had to get at it.
Yeah.
I felt like sometimes too, like it did I think I watched an interview with one of the developers. They call it the hole-in-one technique, where when they develop a way for you to get a target, they make it so then, you have certain enemies in certain places. And then it's like, but the funny thing is like, it's a puzzle. Like you could figure out multiple ways to do it. Yeah. This game was like, just follow this person. And when I get to this point,
just go one way and figure it out.
And there was too many tailing missions. I have to be honest. I don't think Constantine was really that interesting of a world to explore, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I did appreciate the inclusion of Altair into the whole situation.
Yeah. I like that they wrapped up both stories at the same time.
Which is, don't get me wrong. That was when you're playing the intro, right, and you're climbing up that castle mountain thing, whatever it is. That was cool.
So good.
That was cool. But what else? Yeah, I think it really just added more to what was going on outside the Animus, and I think which really was building it up, and I thought that was necessary because I felt like you were spending so much time learning about stories in the Animus, it wasn't connecting to what
that's always been the weaker side,
of course.
That's always been the weaker side of the series. Is just the concept is so cool, and then you go back in time and it's all the assassins, and you're just like, oh, you know, the assassins have been around forever, and blah blah blah. Yeah, it's so cool. But then the story on the outside is an entirely hit or miss situation. Like in the first one, it kind of doesn't exist. Yeah. And then you get to Ezio's trilogy, and you're like, oh, you know, this is actually getting pretty hefty and interesting. But then they start dealing with like these, like the Isu, the weird gods who are from before time, and all this. Well, I mean,
shit. It makes sense.
And then Desmond just fucking dies.
Eden, you know,
no, it does make sense. Like the pieces of Eden, the way they explain it, it does make sense. But you have like, it's just this huge change. Like when we get to 3, they start to build it up, and they're making it this whole thing, and then he's fucking dead.
Yeah, that's true. That's exact. You just got to the point that I was trying to make. Yeah,
okay.
They because you're right. It's true. Like they let it up, and then they just dropped the ball because I'm like, okay, well now, not to say that wasn't pointless, but now you completely lost the investment because I think in that too. Well, you didn't. I think you still have Rebecca. I forget the guy with the glasses. I forget his name, but I think he became a Templar. I don't remember. No, he became a double agent, but that's a different story.
Honestly, couldn't even tell you. You could be right. You could be wrong.
But see, that's how people could have been more engaged with that, you know?
Yeah.
But instead, like, at this time, it was just becoming a question of, okay, what time period were they going to go to next? Like, I would have liked to see, like, a neo-future... Sounds crazy, right? But I would have liked to see a neo-futuristic Assassin's Creed game. But
exactly, man. Make a game, put the effort and focus on the modern-day Assassins. Tell me what's going on. If you're telling me that the whole point of why we're doing this is to go back and, like, learn things about the Assassins and the Templars to try and beat them, make it worth it. Yeah. Like, actually fucking do something with what you find.
So, for me, though, because of all that being said...
Oh, no.
I think... No, because the strengths are good connection to Altair. You know, good connections to outside the Animus up until the ending. Poor world design, in my opinion, and just basic missions. It goes to the bottom of B for me.
That's fine.
So, you know, I mean, it's still a good game. It still kind of has the same mechanics as Brotherhood, so it feels fine. But it's nowhere near holding a candle to the previous 2 games. So
yeah.
Onward.
You're gonna hate. Maybe not you. I think a lot of people are gonna hate my opinion because I hate this game. I was so hyped. I was so hyped for it when the trailers. Timmy and I were just watching the reveal trailer.
They made
a
remaster. That's how much people love this game. That's crazy.
I hate this game. I gotta put Assassin's Creed 3 in C tier. Wow. And the only thing that saves it from being in D is that first trailer. I hate the combat. I hate the world.
What?
I hate.
Dog, this.
Oh. I hate just about everything about it.
I'm so upset.
The coolest part about it is the time period. And the costume design. Connor's costume is pretty heat.
That sucks, man. I thought Connor was really interesting. I thought, you know, his way in finding himself into the Assassins was cool. I love the parkour. I think this is probably the beginning of my favorite parkour system in the whole entire game series because this is whereas like it was because you know remember in earlier games it was like kind of jumpy and like jump to this point this point.
Yeah,
this is more fluid. You were starting to go through.
You were running through trees gaps. And things.
You were going on branches and shit.
Yeah,
the climbing just felt so intuitive. Like felt a little bit easier to do.
I think I'm gonna have to make an audible. I'm gonna put it in the bottom of B only because I just remembered the opening mission where they finesse you with his dad.
Which is
where you're like, oh my god, man, I'm an assassin. He's like, nah, look, Templar, look at my ring. It was like, me when I'm like in 7th grade, I was like, oh shit, okay.
It was really cool, and definitely to see like all the historical figures. I don't know, like it just had a
George Washington.
For me, at least, like I will say, like because Connor wasn't. I think Connor was just kind of a departure, obviously, because when you think about it, right? Altair was like, I don't know how to put it, like very conservative. Whereas Ezio was a bit more liberal until like up into the end where he was a bit more like this whole assassin shit's just weird and annoying. But like he was very charismatic overall.
Yeah.
And then you get to Connor. And Connor's like I wouldn't say he's definitely more like an Altair type, but like he's really traditional in terms of his values, but it kind of made him a bit wholesome, And like he played a good hero figure, so like I thought that was cool. Dad. I thought the combat was great. I think the axes were such a nice addition to it. I love playing with the axes.
Oh, the tomahawk, man, dude, that shit. Dude, the design is great.
Bow, come on, man. You can go hunting. Great too. You get the hidden skins, blade
that turns into just like a regular knife.
Yeah, dude. There you go. There's a bunch of good shit. I mean, obviously we rocking muskets and shit.
That's right.
I will say,
you put it?
Side missions were kind of dumb, and story was amazing as always.
The side missions are really just like are really mediocre for most of the Assassin's Creed games.
You might see that, in my opinion, it goes back and forth depending on the game. But for this one, it goes in for 3. It goes in the top of A.
All right. Then we have everyone's favorite Black Flag.
Oh, dude. That's great, man. I love this game too.
A lot of people love this fucking game. That I understand.
So
I don't love it as much as everybody else.
Damn, dog, because and I know why, because you didn't get into it as much. I'm telling you.
No, I didn't.
I'm telling you.
Honestly,
there's so many other cool things, man.
I was the anti. Like once I got rid of Ezio, I was like, dude, this ain't the same. This is not my not my Assassin's Creed.
You need to do yourself a favor, go back and play that game, because let me tell you something.
I've gone back and played Black Flag a ton of times. I just like,
dude, I became a fucking millionaire in that game.
That's
literally
a lot.
Okay. Because trust me, when you get into the trading system, when you get into the ship battles, when you get into just getting baller ass gear, the treasure hunting, the islands, the world exploring, dude, it was so different, because it's like it basically felt like you had like different maps to explore. Like Haiti was cool. There's some I think some of the Spanish forts were really cool to go explore. Obviously, the many random ass islands you could just go on and just dig for treasure and shit. I liked Edward so much because he reminded me so much of Ezio. He had a lot of like charisma to him. Yeah, he was kind of like a really good anti-hero.
That I'll give.
The female Mistress Lee was great. I think a lot of the crew had their own personalities as well. And the story was interesting because it was really kind of closing in on the gap between what happened in Revelations to Black Flag in terms of what happened with the pieces of Eden. Dude,
I'm gonna put it in the top of B.
I'm putting it right above 2 in S tier.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. I assume that's where most people would put it, but I'm just not.
Yeah, dude, I've
never loved it as much as everybody else, and that's fine.
No, it's fine, man. It just, hey man, it's not for everybody. Well, it is for everybody, just not for you. Let's rephrase it.
All right. What comes? Is this the year? Oh no, Syndicate comes next, right? And then Unity and Rogue came out the same year.
Yeah, so this was interesting.
Syndicate.
What did you think of Syndicate?
Most of these I'm going to put in B tier, because I think even the bad Assassin's Creed games, or the ones that are said to be arbitrarily bad, are at least good. Like the worst of the bunch are good. Kind of like the way I talk about Marvel movies. Yeah. I'll put Syndicate at the bottom of B tier, because it just always has felt like that one game that doesn't interest me. Like the combat's cool, the fact that you get to like take off the hood and you put on the hat, and then you got the knuckles and you're punching the dudes and the blah 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 blah. That's cool. But the twins didn't really get me. The story didn't get me.
No, same.
The game, it kind of felt like a rinse and repeat, right?
The
story wasn't the same, but
dry.
Exactly. Bland. Bland is the word I would say. Bottom of B tier.
I mean, I'll probably be a bit more harsh. I'm probably going to put it in the top of C. My thing is just that I do agree. I feel like it was kind of an awkward period in time because you were switching console generations. They're trying to figure out what to do for the next Assassin's Creed. Yeah, the twins really weren't that engaging. Admittedly, I did find, I think his name was Shane. I found Shane to be quite more interesting because he was kind of, because his sister was like goody two-shoes, right? So like you could kind of choose a path that way. But Shane was just more fun to play because he's like, like rebel against the Industrial Revolution. Like, I don't have to play by the rules. Like, I think he was interesting, but I don't think the world of the story, the environment they put him around was that particularly interesting. I did like the introduction of like carts and like being able to drive horses and shit. Like that was cool.
Yes.
Well, like you always get on horses, sorry, but like get on like the carts and shit, like the fucking whatever, the wagons. The police chases were cool because you can get into police chases in this game. So you had so many good mechanics, but then you're right, wash, rinse, and repeat. Yeah. What do you get instead of a fort system, like like a liberation system? Get the kids out of the factories, shit like that.
Yeah. This is when they fall into like the Call of Duty, where it's just like, oh, we're doing yearly releases, so let's just make it almost the same thing so people like it, but a little different. And you can't really do that with a story game, dude.
No, you can't. If they just put some more time, like, into the story, and again, this is where it really started falling off in terms of the connection outside the Animus.
Yeah.
It would have been great. But no, most of these games, they don't even give a fuck. They just put the notes, like, oh, blah, 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 the Templars are doing this.
They're like,
okay,
oh, the
I don't give a
doing
fuck. Show me.
Bad. Abstergo, look at this cool building. And you're like,
dude,
what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah,
like, why even bother putting it in?
Seriously. And then you get to Rogue. Rogue is just an utter D tier for me.
D? I'll give it a C, only because I like the concept of an assassin gone bad, and I really like in the end how they tie it into Unity, of how the two games are sort of connected.
So here's the thing, right? Yes, while I do agree that it did tie pretty well, it was also just a very big throwaway, because I think my biggest gripe with this game is just on a technological level, because I understand you were trying to appease people on 360, whatever the case may be. You basically made 3, but worse.
Yeah.
The story, though, I will say underrated. It was cool to see, like, a bad assassin, for sure. You know, because it makes sense, you know? Like, I don't think... You kind of explored anti-heroes, but you've never explored, like, someone who just completely switches to the dark side, you know?
Yes.
So, you know, for that reason, I think that's kind of cool. But besides
it's alright.
It's just weak. Like, you took the weaker mechanics of Black Flag and 3 and just put it in a fucking shithole. You know?
And you were so limited because you put it on the old generation consoles and you knew that's where it was going to stay.
What I'm saying, dog, so what the fuck
so
was the point?
The idea was right. The idea was good of trying to put out these two games to appease the two generations, but you should have just done what Call of Duty did. You make it really good for the good one, and then you just make it exist for the older one.
Just for a second, and just to please the studios.
Exactly. Because it's just a year. You don't got to worry about it.
But then here's the crazy shit.
Oh my god, dude!
You pull out those fucking machines, the electrocardiogram, whatever fuck that revives people, and then you get to Unity, bro.
Unity. Listen.
Man.
You and I, our opinions are going to be the same on this game, but they're going to be so different from everybody else's. Unity,
for sure,
is at the top of A.
No, same. Top A. And
because
you know what it
Unity,
is?
If you look past the technical glitches, Unity is such a great fucking game.
Before you get into that, I just want to say that I think that it's coming around to people because of how
especially
now
the last couple of years.
optimization's gotten better over the years. So on initial release, I think a lot of people put it in D or C. Yeah. But the more you get into it, man, this shit's
nice. You know what a big thing was too? I'm pretty sure this game came free with a lot of people's Xbox Ones. Like there was a bundle for a bit. That's how I played it at least. And I'm sure that's what got a lot of people
I got it on my PS4 because I played this on PS4. It does like.
But then you played on an Xbox with us. I
did. Well, because I rebought it just to play with you guys, and we only played like 3 times. That was a lot of fun. I want to play more.
I got to download that. Timmy really wants to play it.
Dude, it's so good.
Such a good game.
You know, fuck, man. This sounds really... I forget his name, the main character. Arno. Jesus Christ. I thought it started with... I was going to see, but I was thinking E like Ezio, because, again, Arno...
Very close to Ezio.
Like, I know I was saying that Edward was really close. Like, Edward brought charisma back, and he was his own thing.
Yes.
Like, he was anti-hero pirate. Arno was Ezio, but French, and it was great.
Yes.
And
he's not as charismatic. He's close, but he's not all the way there.
Some of his dialogue's kind of awkward, but I think for the most part, it's like he has like a real knack. Like he has some funny, like you know what he reminds me of? What's that guy from? That fucking that not a Disney movie, but it's that princess movie with the I think it's Twisted, the girl with the long hair, like the reanimated one.
Oh yeah, from Tangled.
He looks like I think his name. He kind of looks like he kind of acts like that character too, where it's like kind of smooth guy, kind of a goof, but he's still like in a lot of ways he's still he gets tied into this world because he comes from like some type of bourgeois, you know, and he's kind of thrusted into it. And I do think I kind of like that Romeo and Juliet characteristic with him and the main love interest, because it was like she was a Templar, he was assassin at this point.
We have to didn't she die too? Didn't they kill her?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure she did.
So sad.
So, you know, story was great, obviously. I think for the most part, it was just Arno just trying to figure out what the Templars are doing in Paris and essentially building up the Brotherhood in Paris itself, which, again, fun time. Very good time. Even if you add the DLC, I think the Ghost
the King, Dead Kings.
The Dead Kings, which was
that was
I
cool.
love that one because they added some pretty cool weapons in there too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a blunderbuss kind of thing.
Let's talk combat real quick because this is where you and me were going to differ a little bit on it. But
I love the combat in this game.
No, me too. And that's the thing, because it's a bit more intuitive, it's a bit more smart, but it kind of combines the old and the new.
The two. Exactly. Huh? Exactly. Yeah. It combines the two. It's the simplistic, like, arcadey bits of the first handful of Assassin's Creed games, but you can also make it more complicated. You can do the combos, you can do the other shit. But in this one, dude, I got to tell you, if we're talking about combat,
it has builds
the best
too,
part
dog.
Of this game,
it has builds.
The best part of this
game. You could be a stealth person. You could be mix,
fuck that. It's all about the Sword of Eden. It is it is a constant one-hit kill.
That's a fucking cheat code. It's amazing.
It is broken to hell still. It glitches through people's bodies. The textures still don't work, but it's so good. Holy shit, dude.
It's great. I love it. Nah, it's fantastic. Well, I mean, even then, right? Like, if you have that, because you don't really get that till the end of the game. If you're playing through the game, there's so many options. You could play two-handed weapons, one-handed weapons.
A lot of good guns, too.
Guns are great, too. You can really build up your utility belt how you want to build it. If you want to do more range stuff, if you want to do more utility stuff like smoke bombs and cherry bombs.
And, dude,
if you want to just be a health nut and just be a brute, just jack up all your medicine pockets and shit, so... But
graphically speaking, it even though it was horribly buggy at launch, and it's still pretty buggy if you try to play it today. Still, graphically speaking, the engine and a lot of the textures, they look good. Like you put on Ezio's robe as Arno, and it looks fucking great. It looks so good.
I usually for what it is. I never played the skins, just picked the Uplay skins because they kind of look awkward as fuck when you're walking through Europe through Paris. I mean they're cool. Don't get me wrong, but. You know, I like the higher end gear. That's always been fun for me.
Arnold's Master Assassin outfit looks pretty good too.
It's baller as fuck, dude. I love it.
It would be S tier if it was, not a train wreck on launch.
And we didn't even talk about the multiplayer.
Oh, dude, simplistic.
The multiplayer is baller.
But so much fun.
It was fun. You could do bank heists. You could do missions. I'd do it for shits and giggles. Especially too when one of us fucks up and alerts a guards, and then we got to go help that person.
And then we have to start over, or when someone dies. You're like, who the fuck died? And it's just like,
the funniest thing is when you're trying to coordinate and then it's just like, oops.
Sorry, guys. They're like, who the fuck died? I'm like, I ran in there.
Got my fucking skull crushed in the courtyard.
There's 6 dudes in there. I was supposed to sneak around. I just couldn't. So let's just try again.
Let's go again.
Top tier. All right. So, after Unity, after the train wreck that was Unity, they took, what was it, at least a year off before Origins, a year or two. Yeah. And you have this overhaul where it's much more in the vein of Dark Souls and not arcadey combat. It's grinding. You got to find the different shit in the world to make yourself stronger with the shield and the sword and all this stuff. I would say Origins to me is my favorite of the newer ones. And even though I didn't finish it, it goes, I think, in the bottom of A tier. I like Origins a lot. I like the setting. The only thing, I'll put it in top of B. The thing that really sets it apart is I hate the openness.
Yeah.
And this is a huge problem in Ubisoft games as it is in general, starting probably around here or like 2 Assassin's Creed games earlier, where it's just like, oh, look how big our map is. But you're like, dude, a fucking third of this is just open field that I have to run to get from point A to point B. That's not cool.
Unless you got a horse.
Even with the horse, dude, it takes like fucking 20 minutes.
So I'll pose the same argument I posed to Red Dead Redemption as I did to this game, where it sounds stupid to say, but it's like if you don't appreciate the world, then you're probably not going to enjoy it.
A fact.
Because I'm probably going to put it in the same place, but for different reasons. I'm put top of B, mostly just because, I think the exploration was cool. I think the combat system was nice because it really. It kind of reminded me somewhat of Dark Souls implemented. It was kind of cool in that sense. You had to focus on which direction your blocks were in. I think the perk system was okay. I kind of wish it went back to an equipment-based tier tree like Unity did. I think graphically speaking, it looked really great. I think I kind of like this whole relationship that... see, what's his face again? Oh my god.
Bayek?
Oh. Yes. That he kind of had with his son, and then like kind of relating it back to his father, and it's kind of an interesting. It felt obviously more focused upon him than the assassins itself, and it was just more like the assassins were a side piece. The whole thing just so happened that Templar-esque people killed his fucking son.
Yeah, and this is where it starts. to me is like, they're like, oh, we're going to go further back before the assassins exist, and we're going to start the hidden ones and all this stuff. That's cool to me, because you start, one of the DLCs has the creation of the hidden blade, whatever.
Yeah.
But then we get to Odyssey.
So, I got to be honest. I didn't play the last two.
That's fine.
I got to be honest.
I'm going to put Odyssey right to D tier. So I'm going to just tell you straight up. I bought Odyssey full price.
No,
so this is part of what bothers me.
Yeah.
Of course. So I bought Odyssey at full price. I bought it because it was when they were bundling it with the Assassin's Creed 3 remaster, and I was like, I'm going to give this game another chance. And then I did, and I still hated it. Odyssey, to me, dude, it's cool, right? Cassandra as a protagonist, and then she shows up in Valhalla, is really cool. And the concept, and you're trying to really make the outside of the Animus story interesting. But dude, it's not a fucking Assassin's Creed game. That's why it's in D tier. If you were to call it literally anything else, or maybe just be like, oh man, the precursor to the hidden ones were these dudes that just wore these hoods and were just stabbing people. Fine, okay, whatever. Tie it in a little bit, but don't fucking come to me and be like, oh, look at this Assassin's Creed game. We're in ancient Greece and whatever, and there's no hidden blade, and they don't even, whatever. Fuck that, okay? Hate this game. I think like 10 or 15 hours into it until I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm never going to give it another shot again.
Fuck that shit.
Fuck it. And then you said you never played Valhalla either, right?
No.
Good, because neither did I. From what I hear from Chris, it's fun, but it's still like sort of Assassin's Creed, but not really.
Yeah.
And I've watched a bunch of videos or like walkthrough type of things, and it's like you get some of the Norse gods, I think. Like I'm pretty sure Mjolnir's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's just say, right, Origins was a really great way to like soft reboot the series. And to me, it's just been a downhill thing again. But the entire reason we're doing the tier list is because Mirage looks so good, and it literally just looks like Assassin's Creed 1, but like 15 years later, and that's perfect to me. That is the only reason I have faith in this game. I used to be like a huge fucking Assassin's Creed fan. I'd collect the actual discs before everything was fucking digital. I'd want to have everyone. I want to play everyone. I want to do whatever. And now, looking back, I don't give a shit. I just hope the new one's good. They announced like 4 or 5 fucking games. If this one's good, all right, you got me. If you put this out and it's like a horrific launch and the game sucks and the reviews come out and they're horrible, I won't even buy it.
Nah, yeah. Because I think at this point you kind of know what to expect from the series,
Yeah, dude, I'm just tired of paying $100 for a game that doesn't work and fucking sucks.
And then pay for a bunch of collectibles that you probably never even get to use.
Ah, fuck that.
And you're going to probably
Duty,
have to pay $70 for an XS version.
It's the beauty
anyway.
of paying like $100 on fucking like Black Ops 3 7 or 8 years ago. Still playing now. Shit still works. Shit's still a lot of fun.
So I think a lot of people are pretty excited about it. I'm excited about it. I think graphically it looks amazing.
It looks so good.
Concept wise, it has potential to be very good. So
yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
OG Hidden Blade too.
Huh?
OG Hidden Blade. You got to cut off the ring finger.
You're not seeing the camera, but I just cut off my thumbs. Have you ever done anything? Well, this has been the Assassin's Creed tier list for
Delicioso.
Wednesday, the 31st of May.
Oh, my spine.
Yeah. We're doing pretty good. Thanks for everything. We're on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Did I say YouTube? We're on YouTube.
Maybe YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well.
That's right.
Make sure to check out the latest episodes. Check the link in bio for all socials. There we go. What are we doing? What's been up?
Okay, so today's Wednesday. So you just missed on Monday. We did our Little Mermaid review, and we're gonna see how it goes because it actually hasn't gone up yet at the time of recording. So we're gonna see if people hate us or not. We kind of enjoyed it. Before that, we had episode 55 where we talked about Logic on iPad and Final Cut on iPad, and Netflix is dying and crashing and burning and causing a horrible death. Before that, we had the Ultimate Fast and Furious tier list where we just talked a lot of shit about Fast X, to be honest with you. Fast 8, 9, and 10. We just talked a lot of shit. But then we talked about how good like those middle ones are and how much fun we had with those. Let's see. Lastly, coming up, we got episode 56, date or name, TBD. We decide on the day.
TBD.
After that, next week, we got... Timmy and I just finished Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the first one.
Classic.
This Monday, we're going to review the new one, and then we're going to do our ultimate fucking Spider-Man tier list because there's so many of those movies, dog.
Big fuck.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I think it's going to be a good time. make sure to check out the episodes that Miguel mentioned.
Everything's
check out the socials
linked below.
Yeah, boy. But with that being said,
good night.
Yeah.